Here, among so many who suffered, my thoughts turn to the Yazidis, innocent victims of senseless and brutal atrocities, persecuted and killed for their religion, and whose very identity and survival was put at risk. Only if we look beyond our differences and see each other as members of the same human family will we be able to begin an effective process of rebuilding and leave to future generations a better, more just, and more humane world.
All right, let's turn to our first guest of the show. Gorgees Malee is a One Young World ambassador from Iraq. He joins us now from Erbil. Gorgees, good to have you on the show. Pope Francis is a leader that has very much tried to sort of brand himself from the very beginning as a religious leader that visits, small, oppressed Christian minorities throughout the world. This is the first international trip he's making to Iraq. For an Iraqi Christian, what does this mean?
Pope's visit to Iraq is very necessary for the future of Christians in Iraq. And it's a very good timing. I wouldn't name it the Christian minority, but the indigenous people of the country. As I do might consider myself lucky to be alive at this moment to take part in this event, because it doesn't happen frequently. And also, I do consider this recognition when His Holiness mentioned the suffer of the Christians in Iraq. So the international community should take action based on what the Pope is mentioning and what he's discovering during his visit to save the future of this ancient community.
I believe that Pope John Paul II and Benedict XVI had to cancel previous planned trips to Iraq, so I think it's especially that more meaningful that this Pope, Pope Francis, is in your country right now. All right, one of the messages that he gave at the presidential palace earlier today was about solidarity. I think perhaps one of his most anticipated moments will be when he meets with Iraq's most highly regarded Shia cleric, Ayatollah al-Sistani. How do you think this will go, and what's the message that's likely to come out?
So before going to answer your question, so the Christians of Iraq are the indigenous people of the country. They are the indigenous people of the place where it gave birth of civilization and was cradle of civilization 7,000 years ago. And recently, let's say from 2014, it became like a shame and grave of civilization. So the reconciliation between religions should start immediately, because as we see, the number of Christians are dropping, especially after 2003, from 1.5 million to less than 300,000. So an immediate action is needed to save these people. So the reconciliation and the agreement between different religions and accepting the differences and finding mutual points is very necessary. I hope Pope will deliver this point, and they will agree that at the end, differences should be accepted and appreciated, and both together should find mutual points to agree, because this is our country, and we as Christians are not guests in this country, but we are the owner of the land. Unfortunately, we are being called minority recently, but we do consider ourselves the indigenous people of the country.
I think it'd be possibly more correct to say the oldest inhabitants of those lands. All right, you said since 2003, the population, the Christian population, has been declining, but actually the toughness of times experienced by the Christians actually goes back much further. 3 decades under the brutal leadership of Saddam Hussein, then at least 20 years of Gulf Wars, and the rule of Daesh. So talk us.
Starting from World War I. We can start from World War I, moving to 1933 to 50s, and then going forward until today. Okay.
Talk to us about sort of right now the country experiencing multiple threats, not only an ongoing coronavirus pandemic, but also a very precarious security situation, the importance of Pope Francis's visit.
Yeah, we appreciate his decision to visit this country, as we see there are a lot of security concerns, and also let's say the second wave of the pandemic is around the corner. But he insisted to visit the country, and we do appreciate that. And there are a lot of security preparations have been prepared in both Kurdistan region and Iraq for his smooth visit. And we hope that everything will run very smoothly and very secure.
One young world ambassador from Iraq, Gorgees Malee, thank you very much for joining us here on the News Hour. I do appreciate it.